Welcome to Witch Draft. This is Jason Mark Anderman. Today I'm going to do a initial video followed up by a second one about the limitation of liability clause. This, along with the indemnification clause, are the two most heavily negotiated clauses you'll see over and over again when it comes to contracts in general. The first issue that's going to come up is consequential damages. The second issue, which will be the subject of the second video, is going to be the hard cap. Today we're going to take a look at the consequential damages. When it comes down to it, consequential damages really are dealing with the issue of one party suing the other party for an enormous amount of money, way above and beyond the actual amount of money paid under the agreement or expected under the agreement. The classic example of a consequential damage is lost profits. So for instance, if a customer is buying a factory, some factory equipment from a vendor and expects to do a lot of business with the new factory line improvements with that product, and they install it and it blows up their factory and they don't make any money for a long period of time and they lose out on all their profits, they might then sue the vendor for that lost amount due to the vendor foreseeably causing that problem by providing them with a negligent product. Vendors usually don't want to be in that kind of situation and are often afraid of that kind of a situation because they're concerned basically that they're being treated unfairly and that it wasn't necessarily their negligence or it wasn't a particularly well-reasoned negligence claim. So they'll put in a limitation of liability provision. In general, the vendor almost always wants the limitation of liability provision. The customer does not. In general, the customer always wants an indemnification provision, and the vendor does not. Good rule of hand to remember. So the first thing you're going to think about with limitation of liability provision, if you're from a customer perspective and you're pushing this, a vendor perspective, is that it's going to apply in the aggregate and not on a per claim basis. So it limits your overall liability under this entire deal throughout the term to this particular customer in the aggregate. The second thing you want to make sure you say, and these are really magic words that courts look for in a dispute, is that this is going to apply no matter what kind of claim, what kind of damages you're talking about, tort, negligence in tort, contract, any other theory of liability. The third thing you want to make sure you nail is you put in this language that says, regardless of whether a party has been advised of the possibility of or could have foreseen any damages. And this is something that in the past people have used to limit limitation liability clauses. And you want to make sure that you say, no, this is going to fully apply even in this situation. And then the last one, based on a famous federal court case, Caudill Seed, is you say it applies irrespective of a failure of an essential purpose of a limited remedy. And in that case, the court said there was a failure of essential purpose here and threw out the limitation liability clause. Might work, might not work, but it's a good thing to think about. The pushback here might be, though, is certain exceptions. And if you're a customer, you might say, well, you know what, I'll give you limitation liability on negligence, but I'm not going to give it to you when you do really bad things. If you're grossly negligent, I'm going to still be able to sue you for any and all possible damages, even really huge ones like lost profits. Your indemnification obligation, so if you get me sued by a third party, you need to step up and take care of that, and this limitation liability is not going to limit your financial responsibilities there. You mess with my confidentiality, big problems. You do anything intentionally, and that's really just kind of repeating what the law says anyway. You can't intentionally do something. You can't intentionally blow up a customer's building and then get out of it by saying we had a limitation liability clause. And you know, that's kind of the main focus there. And then basically you say, hey, all consequentials are out. Consequentials being any indirect, special, incidental, punitive, exemplary, or consequential damages, or the magic language. And that's pretty much how you write the consequential damages section of the limitation liability clause. Tune in next time, and we're going to talk all about the limitation liability hard cap language. Thanks for using Witch Draft.